It's 2025. Let's go. Now, I believe that this is the year we get to start having more fun in business and we get to start making a lot more money, because I do not believe that it is one or the other. I believe that you can have a ton of fun while growing a successful business and make a good amount of money. And so I'm going to share with you 8 thought-provoking questions right now that if you answer these questions, you will make more money and you will have more fun in this new year. Now, the first thing that it starts with here is asking yourself, what type of lifestyle do you want to live? Now, whether you are just starting a business or whether you have a 6-figure business, a 7-figure business, or 8-figure business, I want you to ask yourself, what is the lifestyle that you want to live? I see entrepreneurs all the time at every stage that are building without actually planning what they want to live. So they're building a business that is not in alignment with the actual lifestyle that they want to live. They say that they want to build a 6-figure, a 7-figure, an 8-figure business, but they don't ask why. And why this is because a lot of people assume that if they can grow a business that big or they can grow a business to 7 figures, everything works itself out. But there's a lot of factors that come into play. And specifically, one of them that I see is that if you build a 7-figure business, but you're working 80-hour weeks and you have a low profit margin, well, you might be questioning the lifestyle that you've created yourself. If you got into entrepreneurship because you want to work for yourself and have more space and time, well, is the revenue number the number that you need to be focused on? Or is it the amount of time that you have? Is it the amount of flexibility you have? You have to ask yourself the right thing. 7 figures doesn't guarantee anything other than the fact that you did 7 figures in sales. And that's a massive accomplishment. Let's not take that away from anybody. Okay, that's fantastic. But it doesn't matter if you hit certain financial metrics if it doesn't translate to the lifestyle that you want to have. Now, I'll make a little note here. Depending on the season of life you are in, there might be a different time for grinding and hustling versus reaping in your benefits. There's different seasons. And you have to be aware to the season you are in and the lifestyle you want to have. But let's forget the numbers for a second. Let's forget building a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. Let's forget building $10,000 a month. Let's forget building a side hustle. If you don't want to travel, then don't create a speaking business that would put you on the road. Okay? What type of lifestyle do you actually want to have? And which business is going to help you bring that lifestyle to the forefront? You see, there are a couple questions that I want you to ask yourself related to this. These are the sub-questions within the question is, what's the lifestyle that you actually want? How many hours a week do you actually want to work? What is most important to you in terms of how you spend your time? And who do you want to be present in your life? For example, if you are a 28-year-old single man who wants to build something crazy, your life might look a little different and your lifestyle that you want might be a little different than if you're 36, you're newly married and have 2 kids under 5. How you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and what lifestyle you actually want is going to change. I know for me, I just turned 32 and my lifestyle at 32 as a newly married man, I want something different for that lifestyle than the lifestyle I wanted when I was a single man at 25 building businesses. Your lifestyle will evolve. But you have to ask yourself and identify what season of your life are you in and what lifestyle do you want? You see, my name is Jake Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author, and I run a company called Big Idea to Bestseller, where we help entrepreneurs and executives write, publish, launch, and market nonfiction books. I've built several different businesses in the professional basketball and event space. I've built businesses in the coaching space, the speaking space. I've traveled the world as a motivational speaker, and now I run a 7-figure plus book publishing company. And so these questions are things that I'm always asking myself. Now, once you've identified what lifestyle you want to live, well, let's ask, what type of business do you want to have? Because the type of business that you want to have could help dictate and make decisions easier for yourself. Ultimately, there's a style that's going to work for you based on the lifestyle you want to live, the business you want to run, and the personality that you have. Not everybody has to follow the exact same formula to running a successful business and having a lot more fun. What we need to do is stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, stop worrying about the marketing schemes, and start focusing on what is our actual goal, what is our actual ambition, what is our actual desire. And so when it comes to what type of business do you have to ask yourself this first, because if you want to be in growth mode for a company, you might be a little less concerned about profit and more focused on the growth. because it's setting yourself up for some type of exit, some type of number that you're targeting to hit. But if you're more interested in living a certain lifestyle, where you may be more focused on higher profit margins and less time spent than your top line sales. And I'll give you an example of this. I have a buddy, they're in major growth mode. Why? Because they're going to eventually sell their company. So what does he do? Well, right now he's not worried about his profit margin, and he's in a grind season. So he's constantly hiring. The profit margins are a little bit lower, but they're growing at a rapid pace. That's not his forever plan, but that is the business that he wants to have because of what he wants the business to do for him down the road. But then I have other friends. And I have other friends who run businesses and they want to work 2 days a week. They want to be able to work from wherever because they love to travel. So their business model is going to be slightly different than the person who is in growth mode. And again, there's so many different ways that you can go within this. But I want you to ask yourself, what type of business do you want to have? Do you want to have a coaching business, or do you want to maybe have a course business? Do you want to have a speaking business that you're traveling, or do you want to have a service-based business? Do you want product-based? Do you want tangible products? There are all these different things to consider. Do you want to do group programs so you could help more people at once? Sometimes that's a great way to save some time. Do you want to work with only an exclusive amount of people at top dollar? There are different ways that you can structure a business based on your personality and based on the lifestyle that you want to have. So now that you've thought about these, the next question here is, does your business currently match with your actual goals and your dream lifestyle? And we need to get honest with each other. Where are you at today? Okay? Where are you at today? So for example, if you want to have a digital business with high profit margins and a small team, it might not make sense for you to make one-on-one services or done-for-you services your main revenue stream. If you want to scale a business that is customer-centric, done with tons of customer experience, then you might want to hire the right team, which could increase your expenses versus doing all the work yourself and overworking yourself and reaching capacity. You have to identify what is it that you actually want. And so for me, I had to make a decision when we were in the beginning and we were starting to really scale. I had to make a decision because I was doing everything myself. I said, do I want to hire somebody who could be better than me at a specific thing? And if I do that, we're going to be able to free up my time, but I'm also going to have to increase my expenses, which would lower my profit margins until the amount of capacity increased. And I knew that that was the decision because I wanted to grow the particular business. But I have other friends who they only sell digital products. And so they don't have to do a ton of customer service. They don't work with their clients one-on-one. They provide customer support in the form of email support, and they hire that out. There are different ways to do it, but you have to identify what is your lifestyle that you want. And what I personally believe in is that we don't create businesses to build our life around our business. We build businesses so that we can create a life, right? Like our business should support our life. Life is a beautiful thing. Like, we got to enjoy this game of life. And so I'd ask you, like, what is the lifestyle? What is the business you want to have? And then does your business currently match with those goals? I'll give you an example. I got married a couple months ago, and I'm loving my life. And my lifestyle now, though, is I want to be present. I want to be present with my wife. So instead of traveling anywhere at any time, I'm very strategic about when I choose to travel. I know that for me, it's really important that when she has her days off, I have the flexibility in my calendar to take time off. So I'm not going to pack my schedule with every single minute of the day book at this point. I know what's the most important things and people to me in my life, and I know how I'm going to choose to create the business based on that. So that's really, really important. And then now we can get into the number questions, because the number questions allow us to really get clear and to start painting a picture of what business model makes sense and what lifestyle is what we actually want to live. So let's start identifying what is our ideal revenue target, okay? So let's just say you are aiming for $1 million year, all right? Maybe for you, that's $100,000 a year. Maybe it's $250,000 as a new revenue stream. Maybe it's $10 million a year. Whatever your target numbers, what is that? Now, before you even move on, I'm going to ask you one simple question. Why is that your revenue target? This is a question that I have to think about all the time because sometimes it's fun to just set targets, but why? And one of my mentors asked me this question. He goes, Jake, you want to build this business to X amount of dollars. Why? If you hit that amount of money, what are you going to do with that amount of money? I recently heard Jesse Itzler, okay? And he was talking on a podcast and he's like, let's say you had $10 million. What would you do with that $10 million? Do you need $10 million? In a Tony Robbins book, there's these financial questions. The point is, a lot of people that have achieved the money that you aim to achieve or that have earned the money that you aim to earn, they ask the question, what is your target? And then why do you want that target? What is the lifestyle that you want to live actually going to cost you? And for most people, the lifestyle that you want is actually not as expensive as the random arbitrary number you think you need to have to create that lifestyle. And that was a huge revelation for me when I began and embarked on this entire process. So let's say though, for the sake of this particular video, that your revenue target is $1 million a year. Well, now we need to start breaking this down. Well, what is your price point of what it is that you're offering? Okay, so maybe you are doing coaching, maybe you're doing consulting, maybe you're doing speaking, maybe you're doing courses. Well, let's just put this together, okay? Let's say your price is $2,500. Let's say it's $5,000. Let's say it's $10,000. Now, one of my favorite things to do when I look at prices for myself and for others is, do you have a book? The minute you have a book, your price for what you do can increase. Why? Because you're seen as an expert, people perceive you differently, and when you're an author, especially a best-selling author, you have the ability, because you've earned the street credibility, to earn more money. And so if you're charging $2,500 for a keynote and you write a book, you could charge double that for $5,000. Okay? If you're charging $5,000, you can add in your book for every attendee, and that can be an extra $2,000 to $3,000 per speaking engagement. So I really want you to kind of consider this too. As you're building out, what is your price point? Can you raise that? That's a great way to increase revenue. Can you add creating a book to whatever you're already doing to increase your rates or to expose yourself to more and more people? So let's say these are your price points. Well, how many sales do you need to make to hit your revenue target? So if you sell $2,500 things, 400 sales. $5,000, you need 200 sales. $10,000, you need 100 sales. You can plug in any math equation to get to your target goal. Okay, what I personally love to do is, I am a numbers guy, I love the numbers, make an Excel spreadsheet and just create a simple formula, okay? And imagine, here's all the different things that you offer, here's the target goal, and here's the price points. And then just equate it and see what it's going to take for you to get there, right? Now, we're not going to go too deep into this, but if you have back-end opportunities, you can factor that in. For example, let's say you charge $10,000 up front, and then you know that you have a back-end offer that's $30,000 for alumni of your program, of your services, of whatever, and you know that on average, 50% of people end up buying that. Well, you can bake that in and use that to help you create it so that instead of 100 new sales at 10,000, you may need a smaller amount because you're going to get extra revenue from the clients that come in. It's really important for you to understand and reverse engineer this. Because when you can reverse engineer everything, it starts to make things broken down into smaller parts, which often makes things more believable, right? Let's take this example and let's dissect this a little bit. So if you want to make 100 sales at $10,000 each, you need to average about 2 sales per week and then take a 2-week vacation, right? 50 weeks, 2 sales, that's 100 sales. And then you got a 2-week vacation on top of that. Maybe you want more, maybe you want less. Again, think back to your lifestyle. Maybe you only want to work 33 weeks of the year. Well, you need 3 sales per week, okay? You have to identify what's the lifestyle you want to live. That's why we ask those questions first. But now, let's break it down even further. 2 sales per week is 1 sale every 3.5 days or 1 sale every 2.5 working days, Monday through Friday. All right, so how many days of the week are you going to work? Change that up. If you want to work 4 days a week, you need to have a sale every 2 days on average. Maybe you get 1 sale, 2 sales, 3 sales, 4 sales in a single day. This can help you change and reverse engineer your target. But when you break it down, we just went from $1 million year to 400 sales, to 100 sales, to 2 sales, to a vacation, right? this is how you can really start to break down the numbers based on the lifestyle you want to live and then the business that needs to support that, right? If you do lower ticket items and you sell something that's a little bit cheaper, well, then the volume's going to increase, but the target number might stay the same. But maybe that gives you more time from working from home versus being on the road at networking events or meeting people or being part of masterminds. You have to decide what's best for you. Now let's get into the marketing side of things. When you do this, right? Now that we know we need to get to 100 sales at $10,000, we know that we need to make 2 sales per week to be able to do that. Well, how are we going to acquire these 2 people? Now, one of my favorite things to teach people is to use a book to create high-ticket clients. And the reason for that is because when you write a book, you can get that book, which contains the information that you then sell on the back end, but you can get that to the masses much, much, much faster, and then have those people start to funnel into your higher ticket offerings, which allow you to get in front of a lot of qualified people. For example, I give my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, out as often as I possibly can. And I know that I'm happy to give it all out because I know what it costs me to give it out. And because I give my book, people read that book, and then when they're ready to write a book, they come to us to work with them. Now, we charge a premium for what it is that we do because we're a full-service publishing house. And we know that people who write books can often add 6 or 7 figures to their business within a year, depending on what their business is and what they're trying to do. Or it could help them start a brand new revenue stream and add 6 figures immediately. And so having a book is one of our primary things that we encourage people to do. If we give away 1,000 books and 100 people end up working with us, boom, we got our number. A specific example is I give away my book. I go to conferences, I give away my book. After that conference, I always get somebody who's like, Jake, I read your book on the way home from the plane. Can we talk about me actually writing my book? Most recently, there was someone who did a $20,000 deal with us because I spoke at a conference, gave them my book, they read my book, they called me the next week and they said, Jake, I read your book on the plane. I am all in. I need to do this. How quickly can we start? So identify what is your primary way of acquiring clients. Now, here are some example of things. It's okay to have a few different ways of acquisition. You'll often hear a lot of experts say you want one audience, you want one product, you want one way of acquiring them, you want one social channel. And I think there's so much great truth in that. But I also think that in today's world, there's just going to be different ways that people come to you. I think it's important to have intention and clarity and a direction, but I also think it's okay that you will get other customers by showing up, by being consistent, and by putting yourself out there. The thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of when I give a bunch of different ways to acquire clients is make sure to go deeper instead of wider, because most people expand too quickly and they miss out on revenue for the things that they're already doing really, really well at. Okay? For example, if you made 80% of your revenue from one acquisition channel and 20% from another, can you squeeze more of that 80% and double that by putting a little bit more effort, more consistency? Oftentimes, you can do more with the thing that's already working than just trying to add new things. And so here are a couple different acquisition methods that we've used to acquire different clients. Referrals, ads, organic social media, being a part of masterminds, speaking at masterminds, sponsoring events, cold emailing, live events, repeat clients, clients that are already your business. These are all different ways to acquire clients and to generate higher revenue. So really start to think about what are you already doing, what's worked best for you. And the way that I would encourage you to do this is look at all the clients you've ever served. How did they come to you? Do you already track that? And if you see that, oh my gosh, we get so many referrals, our business has grown so much on referrals, well, what can you do to add referrals? Are you asking every single client when they're done to fill out a customer survey for more testimonials? Are you asking for 3 people that they would recommend for your particular offering? If you do a ton on organic social media, can you expand on that social media? Can you put dollars behind the social media that's already converting to reach more eyeballs? These are a variety of different acquisitions. Now let's talk about how much does it actually acquire? How much does it actually cost to acquire a sale? We have the lifestyle, we have the business that we want, we have the revenue target, we have the way we're acquiring them, But now, what does it actually cost us? Because this is going to help us determine how much money we can spend or how much money we can keep and profit based on these numbers. So here are some of the things that I would encourage you to look at when you are trying to identify what it actually cost you to make a sale. And here are some formulas that I like to use. You can screenshot this, you can look them up, but I'm always curious about what is my cost per lead. And so that is what is the amount that I'm spending to the total amount of leads. For example, if I give away 300 books at an event, I know I'm spending about $3-ish per book. We'll round up for $1,000. If I know if I get 100 leads from that, and I'll define a lead in this particular scenario as 100 people that have my book, okay, then that's what I'm paying. I'm paying $1,000 to get the books in hands. And if there are only 100, I'm getting $1,000 divided by 100 people, that's $10 per lead. Okay. If you are spending money on ads, what is your ad spend? And then how many leads are you getting from that ad spend? Next is your cost per book call. This only applies if you use a booked call system in your business. But for a lot of coaching or a lot of speaking, a lot of consulting, you'll often do some form of qualification call or some form of sales call. So what's your cost? How much are you spending in order to acquire those booked calls? What is your show up rate? How many people are actually showing up versus the amount of calls that you've booked? What is your conversion rate? How many people, once you are on the phone, are actually converting into clients? If you have 10 calls and you close 5, that's 50% conversion. If you sign 1, that's 10% conversion. That might impact your amount of money that you have available to find more clients or to scale or to grow, right? What is your cost per conversion? So how much does it actually cost you to acquire that customer? And this is where your lifestyle and the business that you want to run, are you growing, scaling? Are you just getting started? Are you going for more profit margins? This can be very important, your cost per conversion. If you spend $10,000 and you get 5 customers, your cost per conversion is $2,000. Well, if your offering is $10,000, well, you're spending $2,000 to make $10,000. If your offering is $1,000 and you're spending $2,000 to get $1,000, you're losing $1,000 potentially. Okay, and I say potentially because there's a lot more that goes into this. But you have to identify, right? What are you selling? What are your price points? And we have to run these numbers. And then 2 things that I like to always consider too is what is my projected revenue based on the clients that I've signed, and what is my cash collected based on the clients that I've just signed. And what I mean by this is we run a business where our clients pay us on a monthly retainer model. So we know that for every client that comes into our program, we have an average length of time someone stays in. So the projected value of that client would be the client times the amount of months times the amount per month for the program that they're a part of. And if I want to get a total projected revenue, I will add that up for the clients that we've signed. So let's say we sign somebody for $25,000. We sign somebody for $50,000. We sign another person for $25,000. My projected revenue would be $100,000 of that particular people. But because we operate on a monthly retainer model as well, we're not collecting all that cash up front. So I like to identify what is our cash collected. Did they maybe pay a lump sum to get a fast action bonus? Are they paying for 1 month? And if that's the case, we identify this so that we can always see what our expected cash is and how much cash we actually collected. This helps us make marketing decisions. So when you start to ask these questions, you're reverse engineering everything. The lifestyle you want to have, the business you want to have, what's your price point, what are you actually offering, what is costing you to acquire a customer, and you can go in a circle to create what you actually want. And so my question to you then is, what is your actual goal for this year? What is your actual goal for this year? How much money do you want to actually make? What is the lifestyle that you want to actually live? What is the business that best suits what it is that you want to do? What are the things in your life that are most important to you? What is the price of what you are offering? Okay, how many of those do you need to sell to live that? How much time will be required? These are the questions to think about. But if you answer these 8 thought-provoking questions, you're going to create a life plan for this year that will allow you to have more fun in your life while you're building this business, because it'll keep the priorities, but it's also going to allow you to make more money because you're going to have clear and thoughtful attention and intention towards that. Now, if you feel that this is the direction that you really want to go and you want to scale your business, then I believe that writing a book is one of the fastest ways to help you increase your revenue and to do something that so many people dream of doing. And so if you would like to get a copy of my book on how to actually write and launch a best-selling nonfiction book, then you can go to bigidea2bestseller.com/free book and we'll mail you a copy. This is going to be your roadmap to writing a book that will generate more business on the back end. And if you want to talk about how we can help you create a book based on your expertise that will allow you to charge more, ultimately making more money so that you can live the lifestyle you actually want to live, then go to bigidea2bestseller.com/call and you'll speak with our team to discuss your book idea. I hope your new year starts off with a bang. I hope that you find this video to be so informational and hopefully to help you think about things just a little bit differently. Because I want you to have the best year you've ever had, and I want you to have the most fun while making the most amount of money you've ever made. I'll see you on the next one.